Hi, I'm out doing some bird photography this morning. When I got here, there were a few pelicans flying right here on the edge of Lake Pontchartrain, so I was able to get a few shots of that, and we might hang out here and just see if a few more fly by or what else comes by, because the light is really pretty this morning. It's kind of overcast, but there's some broken up clouds, so we'll see if pelicans come back. I'm using my Canon 100-400 Mark II, and I can go over some of the settings that I use for bird in flight if that helps you guys if you're trying to get started doing some bird photography and bird in flight. I mean, the main thing, I'll definitely go over the settings, but the main thing is to come out and practice every chance you can get, and that's really how it gets better. Let's have a look and see who's out here. And here comes somebody. So we have a little gull there. Oh, he's still circling around us. There he is. I'll tell you just the settings that I use for bird in flight photography. I tend to set my camera at 1/2000th of a second, and that really helps stop action, especially for smaller birds. Smaller birds I might even go up to 1/2500th of a second, but 1/2000th seems to be like kind of the spot that works for me best. And then I tend to shoot with the wide aperture, so usually 5.6, which is the maximum aperture this lens will go to at 400 millimeters, and then meaning the widest aperture, letting in the most light to the camera. Sometimes I'll go to a f6.3 just to make sure that I'm getting the bird completely in focus. It gives me a little bit more leeway there. And then I like to have my camera set on auto ISO, so I control the shutter speed, I control the f-stop, the aperture, and I let the camera just bounce up and down on the ISO. I don't know, it just takes out one element that I have to deal with. A lot of times you're out here and the light isn't stable. It changes very quickly. Maybe clouds are passing by, clouds pass in front of the sun, or if you're on the wooded edges, you might be shooting in shadows, and then the bird flies out into the sunlight, and it helps just to have some of that a little bit automated. I mean, I definitely recommend learning how to shoot everything on manual. You want to just know those concepts really well, but after that, it's great to be able to have a little help, so you're not adjusting everything every second. And then the other thing that I use a lot is the exposure compensation, because in situations like this where it's actually kind of overcast and cloudy, but even so, I still find like I'm on about a +1 on the exposure compensation, and that just helps override the metering system of the camera and gives you a little push up in exposure so that the bird itself will be better exposed. And sometimes if it's bright outside, you might need to go even higher than that, maybe a +1.5 or +2 stops. Anyway, you have to just kind of play around with it when you're out here and give that a try. But if you're finding that you're shooting birds in flight and they're coming out really dark and you're having to play with it too much in post, you can try that. I might go venture a little bit into the edges of the more wooded areas just to see if there's any bird activity out there. It's actually pretty quiet this morning. So, see, just as I say that, look who's coming. Pelican was pretty far out towards the horizon, so I don't think that would have been the best photo. It's good to practice anyway, and there we go. Here's a pelican. I don't know if you can see him. He's pretty close. Let's try to get some shots of that. So I'm just going to do a little yoga move to get down here. Oh, not really yoga. The closer you can get to the animal's eye level, it creates more intimacy with the animal, and it also creates less of that impression that you're, looking down on them figuratively as well as literally. Animal. It really puts you in their world from their perspective. I'm trying to get a little bit closer. When I first walked up, I think those might be some of the better pelican shots, but we'll see. It's always fun to have multiple opportunities to try in one morning, and I might still sit out here for a little bit longer and see what birds come out. And thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate your supporting the channel, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I will be adding more bird and some nature photography videos, as well as going back to a little creative challenge that I've been trying to give myself. I love doing this type of bird photography, more natural history style, but I've also been trying to push myself more creatively. I'm going to continue some of those challenges. So please hit that like button if you like this video, and thanks so much for watching.